Hey guys, back in the bush. You can still hear the fucking cars. So, we're off in the bush. I was supposed to bring a friend along, but my friend is currently under the weather. So my buddy caught the flu and is currently at home shitting himself or something. And for sure would have been more fun to bring a buddy in the bush with me, but you know, I still enjoy my own company. And I'm not alone. I got you guys. So, the festival of the cars going by. Today is a beautiful day. Oh, before I forget. So, like I said, today's a beautiful day. Today they're announcing +2 degrees Celsius. Fuck. I never know how to convert Fahrenheits and Celsius. Give me a sec. Temperatures. So if I go with 0 degrees. My God. So -2 is 28 Fahrenheit. Yeah. So 28 degrees Fahrenheit today. Right now, I mean. It's going to be 35 during the day. So +2 Celsius, or just 2 Celsius. We just say negative when we go into negative, I guess. So my goal was to come and work on my shelter. Technically speaking, the work that I'd love to get done today would be my bed. So at least get my bed done, and that'd be done. So that's the objective right now, is to get the bed done. And after that, if we still have time, all depending on the time of the day that it is, you know. What the fuck? I shall unlock the gate. Haven't been here in a good 2-3 weeks. Look at that. Tree decided to fall over. The snow has been so wet in the last weeks that oof, you're a weak little tree. You're not gonna stand back by yourself, buddy? Ah, fuck you. I'll cut it on my way out. Yep. Weird temperatures that we've had in the last few weeks. When it wasn't snowing, it was raining. When it wasn't raining, it was snowing. And when it wasn't snowing, it was minus 500 degrees. And there's a shitload of tracks. I don't know if you can see that, but over there, here, over there, over here. So there's a bunch of little rabbits probably living in there. Look at all these little tracks. That's fresh of this morning. So he went this way, then he came back here, and he came back on his foot, and off he went over there. It's full of tracks everywhere. That little rabbit is active. Huh. So anyways, back to what I was saying. So today I was supposed to bring my buddy along, which is my boss also. He's on vacation this week. And like I said, he got the flu, poor thing. So I'm making the trip alone. I took the day off because I got so many banked vacations. I need to, Jesus, look at that. My whole way's littered with these trees. I got wet snow on them. Jeez. Fuck. I have to cut all that. There we go. Uh-huh. That's our little stream. Ah, fuck. Fuck, fuck, fuck. Jesus Christ. You fogging up? Fucking snow. Ooh. Anyways, there's a shitload of snow, but it's everywhere in the trees. Look at our little shelter. It's right there. Let's see if there's a bear sleeping in it. Wow, damn, look at that. Will you look at that? Completely dry. It's fantastic. And see, this is what I was scared about. See what's happening? Where the snow is coming back over the edge. When this is going to melt, some of that water is going to drip in there. So I'll have to clear this top here before it melts, so that it melts the other way around and not my way. Fantastic. That's cool. So this works, dude. My bed is going there, and there's nothing that's going to clog my bed. So what I got to do now is put you guys down and start rounding up some wood and start building my bed. And remember, my bed, I can't put any stakes in the ground, so that means bed will be only tied. You can see that I have a bump on that corner over there. Then I fall into a dip, and there's just a little bit lower than there. So that tells me that I won't need as big there. I'll need a little bit bigger in the middle, and in the middle of those two at the end. So I'll get myself 3 logs that will act as a base. Then what I want to do is have my poles, if you want, that will act as the length of the bed on top of that. But I have to fit all that together first. So what I'll do is I'll put three poles, three logs. Then I'll put 3 poles on top of that, and those poles I'm going to tie right up. And then after that I'll fill the gaps with the other poles, and I'll tie those ones to the other ones. So technically speaking, it should be pretty strong. It won't be that strong, but I mean, I'm not moving anywhere with that bed. It's just going to rot there. So my goal is to have it done, have it survive the winter. Because what I don't want to have to do is get myself a BV and be obliged to sleep directly on the ground there. So I want to make myself a base, but the problem is the ground is frozen, so I can't drive in stakes to hold it together, because that's how you would usually do it. So you have your log, and then you put your stakes to prevent that log from moving, and then those stakes act for the first posts on each end, and then you just put the rest in the middle, and you don't even have to tie it down. Just the gravity will hold it there. So my goal is to do that only this spring. But then again, this spring, my buddy that was supposed to come with me, he's got a nice little drone, and what we're going to do is we're going to come exactly here where there's a good clearing, and we'll start the drone from here, and then we'll let it run all over the land, and we're going to scout for a much more flat area. And if it can follow that stream, that would be fantastic, because then after that what I could do is build a platform and then set up my hot tent for next winter over there. So next winter I'll have a hot tent on the land somewhere where I could bring Miss Adventure Canada with me also, because she's not much of an outdoors person, and to sleep in that, I can guarantee you that's not going to happen. But I have to find a middle ground somewhere. And what's fun of a hot tent is you can make that very comfortable and actually be in there just in a shirt, and that's it, even if it's minus 20 outside. So I'm digressing right now. So I'm going to stop the camera for a while, because I'm just going to be going out to get some wood, and seeing me cutting wood, you've saw that before, and if you haven't seen that before, you can go see my other videos or go see lumberjacks. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself a few posts, and then I'm going to come back here and we're going to build a bed. All right. So I got a few logs. I'm up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 logs. So I cut them approximately in the bush, because I didn't really know how long my bed was going to be, but I didn't think about it. I just had to sit it straight beside me, and that would have given me the length. Dumbass. So what I'll do is I'll take this, this guy here is a bit crooked on the end, which really pleases me, because if you look at this end here, it starts to make a banana. So what I'll do is I'll stand him right beside me. And technically speaking, I want to just go above my head about this high, not much longer. You know, I don't need that long anyway, so I'll make a mark. And I took the heaviest one, because that's how I am. I like complicating my life. And that will be our pilot, our measuring tape or template, whatever. Right on the foot. So now what I can do is align this guy beside all the other ones, and we should be good. There's still a banana in this one. Back. Anyway. Yeah. Take a smaller one too. See, they're all fucking banana-ish. It's hard to find straight wood in the bush, especially in that bush right here. Because there's too many clearings. You'll find very straight trees when you're in a very dense forest. And what happens there is that trees will grow straight because they're trying to reach for light. And they're all competing against each other, so they all go straight up. But in here there's so much clearing that the sun comes in anyway, so they lean towards the sun and so on. So it's pretty much crooked everywhere. So I won't get as much as straight as I have here, and we'll have to live with that. Yep. Damn. God damn it. Alright. This one would have been just perfect if that banana would have been a little bit further. So I'm going to leave that one aside for now. Not that I don't like it. And this one is very... I'll cut off the longer piece. Wet. Yep, very wet. No. Flip this fucker around. I'm not going to have enough, else my bed's going to be very, very slim, but I gotta start somewhere. It's funny because I'm using the most crooked piece as my measuring tape. Oh, it's cold on the hand. As I cut my bush, I try to find the next pieces. Seems to be a lot over there, but damn is it dirty. There's a lot of that zonage, and that's just a hell to walk through. So imagine when you're walking in it with a bunch of lumber trying to make yourself a trail. Did you get out of there? Banana split. So we're stuck with Mr. Crooked. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I lined them up side by side just to give me an idea, but I don't think it's going to be enough. There's not one that is the same. So what I'll do is I'll take the big ones and put them at each end and go with thinner ones in the middle. There's a bit too many gaps. It's too wavy right now. But that's okay. What I'll do is I'm going to shim it from under. So. The fuck? I can hear barking. Does a wolf bark? What I'll do is I'll use this to, I'm going to skin those trees. Bring them down to no more bark. So that way they're going to rust less fast. Less fast? How can you say less fast? Slower? Duh. So they're going to rot much slower. So if I would add maybe 2 more, it'd be a comfortable width. Because I like to sleep on my side like I explained once, and when I'm sleeping on my side I take much wider. But I'm small to start with, so yeah. 2 more. 2 more. See one right there. Okay. I missed it. Ah, booyah. Alright, so let's go get 2 more trees. And then for my logs, I'm going to take Mr. Crooked here. And I'm going to fiddle with that. So I have enough in all that to make my 3 that I wanted. And I'm going to raise all that. Because what I would like is to have it just high enough that I can sit in there. So when I make a fire right out here, I could be sitting there. And if it's raining or snowing, whatever, I'll be just comfortable in there. You know. And I'm thinking maybe to add a tarp later on top of all this. Just to make it even more waterproof. But just sitting in there, it would have to rain a lot to come in there. So. Yeah. Oh. Shitty shit. There's snow every other way. The Agua Canyon by Boreal. The Boreal 21. This, my friend, it's a fucking chainsaw. I love it. I should have bring my old saw with me just to show you the difference. Man, the other one made me swear a lot. Yep. Finito. No more sweating. Alright, so 2 more trees and I'll be right back. So I already started to skin this tree. So I'm just using my K-bar. And what I'm doing is I'm just starting the bark like this slowly. And at the same time I'm scrubbing off the knots that I find. When I find a knot, I try to rub it down. So you need a decent sharp knife to do that though. If you're trying to do that with a dull axe or something, it's not going to work. And of course, you need working gloves. If you don't have gloves, don't cut your fingers. So the goal of removing the bark is the exterior of this tree is going to dry much faster, and it's going to dry to the core faster too. And bark also absorbs water and keeps water in there. So that removes that effect. You know what I mean? So you got a little banana here, but we're going to put it upside down. So what I want to do is shim this here. It's not too bad. I'm not going to be sleeping on this directly anyway, so even if there's a little bit of splinters left, I don't care. The tool for this though, I don't have one. It's actually, there's a good channel called My Self-Reliance by Sean James that he shows you the technique of debarking a tree. It's really a tool that you hold and it's a bit bent, and you can just scrub it and scrub it. And he does log cabins, and when you do a log cabin, you got to bring your wood down to the wood, no more bark. And I'm doing it upside down because I'm going downwards, and that's not because I don't like his technique. Is I'm using a knife right now, and I don't like bringing a knife towards me. I always like to bring a knife away from me. So, and I'm making a big mess of all that bark. Guess where that's going to go after? If you guess it, you get a free patch. A free what? A free patch. I ordered some patches for my channel. The goal of those patches won't be to sell them. It will be milestone giveaways and stuff like that. So when I hit 100 subs and 1,000 subs and so on, I want to give away stuff, and patches are going to be one of them, because patches are cool. Yep. I just ordered 100 of them because I'm testing also where I'm making them produce. I don't know that source. I never heard of that source. I just Googled it and I fell on it. So could be some cheap Chinese company that will rip me off. I don't know. So I tried to stay in a very reasonable budget, and it cost. When you do such low level of patches, the problem is you have to absorb the first time you make them. You absorb also the design of the patch, because you send them a picture, a logo or something, and after that they'll make a mock-up out of it and so on. And then they show it to you, and you can have retouches done and so on. So that's all absorbed in the first time you ever create that patch. So for now, for 100 units, it was about $1.30 each, which is not that bad. So it cost me $135 US, shipped to my door. Well, that's what they said. It's not shipped yet, but anyways, the goal is if ever I need much more patches, they'll be much cheaper. We're talking under 50 cents a piece, so then I can order like fucking 1,000 or something like that and get it done with it. And then after that, I could just give them away. Have little patches of Jake Adventure Canada everywhere. This is going to take a while. Now, not installed properly also. Usually you're on a bench. It's a bench that's like a seesaw, and what you do is you lock that piece of wood in there. And as you're working on it, you bring down that piece of wood. I don't have such a seesaw in the bush here, and I don't intend on having one because I don't plan on working wood that much. It's not really my cup of tea. Obviously, you notice that. See where I'm wearing gloves? If I wouldn't have been wearing gloves right now, I'd be missing like 3 fingers. He looks done. What do you think? She's a bit on the hairy side, but that doesn't matter. And then another thing you could do to make them last even longer, you can char them. So what you do is you build a fire and you sit them slowly in the fire, rotating them and moving them ahead and so on. And you make it all scarred black. And that will extend the life of that tree by a lot. So usually you want to do that when you're going to bury a tree. Like example, you want to make a post, and you'll obviously put that post in the ground somewhere, because a flying post is not a good thing. So when you put that post in the ground, what you put in the ground is going to be soaking wet, because when you create a hole, you create a pool, so all the water goes in there, and then after that, that tree is soaking wet all the time. So you want to at least char that part, the part going in the ground. Well, I'm happy with that. This one's not even cut, so I don't know. So I charred a few centimeters for nothing. Damn it. Ah, fuck you. Yeah, baby. Now we want to char Mr. Big here. Holy shit, that's big. Tabernacle. Gee. This one's gonna be fun. Oh. Shit. Well, I got myself a huge contract. So I doubt you want to see me scraping trees for a few hours, so I'm going to spare you all that fun and do it by myself. Yay! We're making progress. I got two big logs at the bottom of you, as you see. I don't know if you see. There you go. So I got my two big logs. You're going to say, Jesus Christ, that's massive. Indeed it is. And the reason for that is where you see that small little log over here. This one here, there's a huge lump. So my plan is to put that bigger one in front of the lump and that smaller one if ever I need the support for it, but I doubt it. And as you can see, I gave up on my scraping for now. It's winter anyway, so this is not going to rot during the winter. So we'll deal with that this spring. I can see a slope. Yep. Maybe if I go like this, I bring the smaller one onto the lump. Oh, well, that's already pretty much more straight to my naked eye. Much more straight. Let's make a bed. Nothing's tied down anyways. Hello? Sorry for the interruption, that was my phone ringing. That's the beauty of where I am. Phone signal is number one. So that was a little woman from the place where I'm getting my patch done telling me that everything is fine. Well, that's not too shabby. That's really not too shabby. I might just put one more for the width, but oh yeah, baby. I'm a bit too close to here, so I might move my bed a little bit more like that. But yeah, it's too thin. Because I sleep on the side, like I said, like this, so if I sleep on the side, I'm not too, it's just my knees that are sticking out. But you know what, I'll just add two more posts, and then, oh, yeah, I'm a bit too close. So what I'll do is I'll bring my bed a little bit more like this. So just to give you an example, so that's much better. I could sit here, have my fire. Yep. Might not even have to tie this down, but there's big logs to go around. What I might do is tie it all together, you know. But I can't tie that too much because it's going to collapse on itself. So, one thing I could do though is take my axe and make a groove just below this one here, and then make another groove in the log where this one is. So when I put the log in there, it's going to wedge into the bigger log and it's not going to move anyways. So that could be one way of not having to use rope. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to make a V in there. So the log is just going to squeeze in there, and the V will bring it down with the pressure. Yeah. This is really cool. Nice little bed I'm going to make. But just sitting on it, I could feel it's wet. is my body heat. So let's just try with my little cushion instead. There we go. Ha! Yeah, man. So I'm gonna have my lunch. I'm gonna bring you just a little closer, because I'm most probably shouting at you right now. There you go. So, yep, this is gonna be cool. My bread is unfrozen. What's gonna be good with that is a coffee. Yeah. I'm gonna get my twig stove, some twigs, and boil some water. Battery's already dying. I washed my stove. See, it was all black like that. And I washed my stove, my pot I mean. I scrubbed it a bit. It was scarred. The one that would really love a little scrub is my little my little oven. My little stove, my twin stove is really, really dirty. Wonder if I put it in here if it's going to cut the airflow. The problem is it gets really warm underneath there, and if I put it in the snow, I'll find it in China most probably. But you know what? Don't care. It has to go somewhere. Right there is a nice little spot for it. Yeah. What say you? Wet birch bark. What better than wet birch bark? Huh? Wet birch bark. Yeah, you want to see my little fire? I don't know if you see. That's the thing with these GoPro, they have a wide angle on it. I put it to medium. I don't like to put it full wide, because then it's as if you're looking down a, I don't know how you would describe that, but it's like a glass kaleidoscope or whatever. It's just a weird feeling, and I don't like it. So I don't like it. I don't do it. You gotta love these little twig stoves. They don't need a lot of fuel. The guy that came up with this stuff is fucking genius, because they take maybe 1/10 of the resource of a normal fire would need to boil water and stuff. The only thing is you really gotta maintain it. I saw a video once by Doug outside, Douglas, and Doug, he's a big fan of twig stoves. He's pretty much the guy that got me to buy a twig stove. And Doug lights it up, and he let it burn, and it burns for almost half an hour with just what's in there. And I was like, how the fuck does he do that? Because I don't know how. I've tried everything, man. Fall in there, little. You know what? Fuck you. I'll remove the hood. Really hard to access the birch bark and all that when you're there we go. should set up my water and my pot. So I need a coffee. I got plenty of water. I got so much water, I'm going to rinse my pot. Don't need much more than that. Okie dokie. The zebra pot. I love this little thing. That's another cool invention. The billy can. The Brits. Oh, that's soaking wet. And this is green. Yeah. Fuck. Might have not enough twigs. Ah. Burn little twigs. I just need to boil my water anyways. And then you wonder why my stove is all black. I don't know. Do you have an idea? That's wet twigs. No. Everything is wet in it. Oh yeah. Oh, this is really wet. Yeah, I don't know how Doug did it. I think he just stacked all the wood standing up. I'll have to go check that video again. It was burning for almost half an hour. With a good flame. So he didn't show he stacked it, he just showed it once it was stacked. I'll have to go study that video again. Überleben. Whatever the fuck that means. That cup is just a tad too small. Doesn't make a big coffee. And the problem is these little Nescafe, sweet and creamy, they're a bit too much on the sweet side. I've told you that in the past. And I meant every word of it. But then somebody would say, well, Jake, you dumbass, you just have to use less. Duh, that is not a bad idea. What I could do is dump it directly in there and then serve my coffee. Oh. Well, that's going to make a weak coffee. Oh, whatever. So anyways, we're moving forward. So the bed's almost done. You just have to wedge, like I said, so it doesn't want to move. And then That's about it. Then my walls are done for this year with the tarp. Then I'll have to do my fire pit. I would love to find stones, but you know, with all this snow, I don't think that's going to happen. And bringing snow out here, stones out here, I could do that. This winter, I'll get a sleigh. Yep. Oh shit, my fire's dying. I'll get myself a little sleigh. And then it's going to make it very easy to come out here. Hey, don't die. Fire. Don't die. Oh, this little fucking thing gets hot. And that's what I love about winter is the you get to cheat. You know, usually when you come out here in the summer, you'll have to carry everything on your back, and then that becomes very, very heavy if you have a lot of stuff. The fun part in the winter is you can get yourself a little sleigh. Oh, this is soaking wet. You can just squeeze and see the water coming out. And you pull a sleigh in the back, and then you could pull 100 pounds if you want. So that's the good part about winter camping, is that you can get a lot of stuff in the bush with you. So I see sometimes people commenting on videos about people in a hot tent saying, man, that's not practical. How the hell do you think you can carry all that weight? And you actually don't carry, you pull it. And when you pull stuff on snow, well, the snow acts, the snow will let your sleigh slide, and you could pull much heavier. If you would want, you could put a car on a sled and just pull it. You'd only have to exert a lot of force to get starting, but once you're started, your inertia would do the rest. Oh shit, this is boiling. I'm feeding the fire and this thing's boiling like crazy. Alright. This would be a nice part where I would put on gloves. But you know what? Fuck it. Oh! It's boiling! Coffee. Little cup. Coffee. Oh, that's not good. Damn it, where I put my spoon? Yeah. Ah, yes. Coffee. Well, sweet asphalt. It's not the best coffee, it's not the worst. So here's to you, Mickey. This is the nice coffee you're missing. Nice sandwich you're missing. I could be working. Instead, I'm out here. I'm paid to be out here. That's funny. That's the beautiful thing of retaking banked vacations. Is you're paid to do nothing. That's the best job in the world. That K-bar just fell like a tree. See what happens to my little twig stove? It sinks in the snow. And see, after a while what happens is this becomes wobbly and it would want to tip over. So yeah, I gotta find something that I can carry around that is light, but that I could actually put my stove on it. Most of the people just put that on a rock usually, and that does the trick. I'm gonna finish lunch. I'll change my battery, and then we're gonna finish this. Sounds like a plan. So I was sitting here in my bed, and I was thinking, how could I make this work? And I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a Canadian jam knot on the first log here. And then what I'll do is I'll wrap this one with this one and then go around, then loop always like that. So that will prevent it from going like this, but it will prevent it from separating. So let's give that a try. So what you do is you start, I made a big fat knot because this is very tiny rope. And what you do is you create another knot close to that one. And at the very start of my rope, I cut a lot of rope for nothing, but you know what? A roll like that is cheap as a fuck. And what you do is you insert that one in there. And then you pull all that rope. All that rope. And as you bring it here like this, see, as that knot ties down, that other knot is preventing it from going anywhere. See? So now what I'm going to do, this is going to be interesting on my knees. Oh yeah. So this one, I'll wrap this one here like this. And then I could even go back. Come back on top, go underneath this one, and I'm just going to tie them as I go. Bring this one like that, go underneath it, and go on top of this one. That's working. Sorry about that. Hey, yeah, it's not too. Fuck, really? This concept is shit. Finally. Yeah. Well, as I turn them, it gets tighter, but that won't serve much. All this is loose now. Well, this is a bad concept. Well, you know what? Fuck it. I don't feel like. Yeah. So let's go with plan A. What was plan A? To groove this. So fuck this shit. Yeah, what a waste of cordage, huh? Good thing they're so cheap. And I'm not that poor. It was worth a try. But I didn't think about this wobbling. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna number these guys.
And we know this is 8. And then what am I going to do? I'm going to make a marking where I am now on my log. And these are higher anyways, right? So since they're higher, the groove I'm going to make is going to go much better because it's going to sink in it. It's a fantastic plan. So let's get all that disassembled. Now you're going to tell me, why you're not grooving the other side right now? Well, you know what? The reason is I'm going to start by fixing it on one side. Once it sinks there, then I'll go mark the other side. And it's going to be easy as a breeze. So, move everything out of the way. 7, 6, and the number will tell me also what way it goes, you know. Frozen wood. Okay. Then, K-bod. Yep. And then I'm going to start doing my V. Whoa, lacking precision here. Now, that's good enough for me. And then let's move this here. That one groove there, one groove there. Bad on my back. Be catching all this anyways. Fuck. I'm there not filming the roof most probably. There we go. So the grooves are not even on the same inclination. Fucking idiot. There we go. It's a bit too up. wants to roll, huh? That's how I'm wedging it here. Once the logs are on it, it stops wanting to roll. Should wedge it on both sides. I don't have another wedge. I'm gonna have to make another wedge. Dumbass. I see what's going on here. There is a nut. Ja. Da ist wieder, ja. Oh. This is all knees. All the knees. Saying, what is wrong with you? Fucking me work. There we go. See, that sits in that groove. And the other side is just crying for the same thing. This is one. This is three. So that was two. Where's my two? Oh, there it is. Okay. Three. Four. Five. Six. Seven. And eight. That's working like a charm, dude. It's just this fucking banana. I don't remember how it was sitting. Like this. Like that. Oh wow. That is much better. Oh my god. There's just this one here that is wobbling a bit, but make that groove even, but here it's not moving at all. See this one here, it's in the groove. That's awesome. So I just have to groove this one even deeper. Once it's deeper, it's never going to go anywhere. Yeah. I put my knife there forever, I'll be fine. I just have to not move during the night. Tiresome all this. This bed is inviting. Mwahaha. My bed is calling. Yep. So now, rinse and repeat. We just have to fix that groove, but I'm thinking if I make this side deep enough, it ain't going anywhere. Yeah. I'll use a K-bar this time. That one on that. But to this side. Oh, she's a little rotten. These grooves were just too easy to make. And that's because that wood is rotten. Perfect. This is just this lump I don't like. You know, there's a little lump because of the bananas. I could replace this one. It's going to be a challenge to find the exact, because now this is tight. Yeah, I got to replace that. I didn't like this fucker since the beginning. This banana here. For sure I could use my my axe and remove a lot of that banana. Oh, it's not that bad. Well, you know what? What banana? I'm a lazy fuck, you know. If I can avoid something, I will. I should have brought my sleeping pad. Test it out with my sleeping pad. The holidays are on us. It's gonna be Christmas next week. You know, and I hope all of you guys have something to do for Christmas, because me, it's that time of the year when I think about all the poor people that don't have a place for Christmas and they're all by themselves. And you know, people that also don't have the same income and luck that we have. Well, I say we, I'm talking to me and my wife, but I hope all my viewers are not in misery. But my point is, this year, what we decided to do is we found a family that was in need, and we bought them a huge grocery for Christmas. And then we got them. We had an old PlayStation and a Guitar Hero and all that stuff that we didn't use anymore. So all the family, we got together and made a huge donation. You know, it's like a lot of food, a lot of gifts and all that. And if that one family can be out of the misery for the holidays, you know, it was a poor woman with 3 kids, and now they might have a decent Christmas. And that makes me feel cozy inside, knowing that, you know, we help potentially one little family somewhere. And it's that time of the year, you know. It's the time of the year where you should give more than you take. You know, give without expecting anything in return. And you'll see that it works in a very funny way. When you give without expecting anything, that's called unconditional love. And you'll be surprised how good things happen. But you know what? The goal of giving without expecting is exactly that. But somewhere you're making a difference. And to me, that's more concrete than just giving money away. You know, at least when I know where it's going. So anyhow, enough of this soft talk. Supposed to be a bushman and be tough, but I'm actually just a big bear, a big teddy bear. I like this little bed, guys. This is really awesome. Yep. So let's try that out. So this is my pillow. Let's say. And I have my pad. My pad is going to pad this a lot to remove a bit of that wobble. And that's my sleeping bag. The only thing is, this is a bit close, so I'm imagining with my pad I'll be touching this. You know. But the good thing about that is if I turn on the other side, like this. Yep. That's much better. And I have all the cover of the wind on this side. And just my breath is going to keep me much more toasty. Oh, fuck. But getting out of the bed is going to be funny. Yeah. I should have advanced it just a little bit. But fuck it. This is how it's going to be. Yeah. So we did what we came out to do, which was the bed. It's 1 o'clock and we're done with the bed. What to do? I'm going to clean up this mess. I'm going to process this wood. Most of it's green now. What I'll have to start doing pretty much is find a way to keep my wood dry. So I'll need to make myself a stack of wood somewhere, so I don't have to always process wood when I come here. Yep. And what's fun about here is I can cut anything I want. I don't need anybody's permission. And I look for what's dead first. And there's some trees that are just massive. You know, like I'm looking at one tree right there, it's almost dead. I would cut that and I would have wood for 5 years almost, just in one tree. It's crazy. There's some trees I can't even hug. That's how big they are. And there's one over there, it's a huge massive tree, and I'll most probably try to cut that guy down this spring. Because if it comes down my way, that's going to kill me for sure. But the stump of that thing is about this big, And what I'll do is I'll cut one that thick, and I'll bring it down here. And what I would do is I'll make some benches with that. And what I want is make a nice fire pit, you know, and have a place for 2 or 3 people. My goal is not to bring the family here, but maybe bring a buddy once in a while. So the next shelter, I'm not sure where to put it. I'm just trying to gauge the wind, how it works, but I see that there's not any snow into the shelter itself, so it's not much winding this way. And I see there's no snow whatsoever there, but there is some there. So my guess was right that it's most probably winding like that. So if we would do a shelter on that side here, but the problem is that's where I put all my pack and all that. So and that's like my little corridor to go and process wood. But it's just big enough though. So it might be that, because there's a big tree there, so it'd be easy to make a shelter, but it'd be a bit tight. But for a small guy, that would be perfect. So yeah, we're getting there, guys. So the shelter is moving along. For sure, this is not, you know, like fuck survival right now. That's not the plan. You know, like my goal was to get myself a little shelter so I can do some winter camping. But as we move along in the channel and we advance slowly into more advanced skills, what I'll want to do is show you all sorts of shelters that you can do on the fly. This is obviously not something you can do on the fly, but remove the tarp. It's called a lean-to. So just having one post and then leaning other posts on it, it's almost done. The only thing left to do on this, in this case, would be to close down the walls on each side. And there's different techniques to do that. One technique is to go with wood going up like that, and another one is to continue your lean-to. So you continue in a like a half a quarter circle, whatever, on each side. And then what you do is you get a lot of foliage, or if you don't have foliage because you're in a very evergreen forest kind of, well, what you do is you take evergreen branches and then you put them upside down and you go up, and that will close all the cracks and cut the wind. It won't be super waterproof, but if you need waterproof, then you might want to look for moss. But that's not always an obvious thing to find, you know. So another thing to look for when you're doing a shelter, look for any kind of log, that big trees that will have fallen, example, but have not touched the ground and it's solidly budged there. And what you can do is scrape underneath there, and then you just put your branches on that log like that. And that's a very fast, you can do a shelter within 2 hours. And then you could, another shelter that is very popular in the winter is a quinzhee. So what you do is you pile a lot of snow into a huge snow bank. And what you do is you jump on that, you compact it. It's very good when the snow is like right now. This is a perfect snow for quinzhee. You hear it, and that makes a you know, it's not puffy snow. So this is perfect for a quinzhee. So what you do is you make yourself a huge ball, and then what I do is I'll take sticks about this length, and then I'm gonna poke them into that snowbank until I don't see it anymore. And then when I go underneath and I start digging, I dig until I see this end. So that tells me my roof is about a foot thick. And these little stick reinforces that roof. And what you do is you make yourself, it looks like an igloo if you want. And then you could stay in there for a night. You don't want to stay there for weeks, because eventually that quinzhee will want to collapse on you, because you're going to be melting it slowly, because you're sweating a lot of heat. And the snow's just going to be melting outwards. But for a night, That's perfect. So in a snowstorm or something like that, you can just shove yourself in there, and you tough it out, and then the next day you move on and try to go into a place where you'll be able to make a much better shelter that you can prolong your stay. Yep. So I'm doing the blah blah thing again. Fantastic, huh? So I'm going to clean up, and we're going to call it a day, because that's exactly what I wanted to do today. And I'm in advance on my time, and I'm sitting directly on the wood. And I was wondering why my ass was cold. And we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to clean it up, pack my stuff up, and I'll wrap this video after. Awesome. That was fun. See, I'm discovering things too. That one of my viewers told me the other day that he liked that I don't filter out my mistakes, because a lot of YouTubers, it's very unfortunate. I don't know why they do that. They make it look as if it's a perfect world. Like going in the bush, it's so simple, and they make it look as if they fucking turn a fire just by rubbing their hands, and or just clapping a finger and oh, here we got fire, and so on. Or a shelter, they just clap their hands and the shelter's done. And the reason for that is they edit out a lot of stuff, and I practically keep everything. You know, like my fuck up that I did with my rope, I'm going to leave it there, because I want you to I want to show you that, you know, regardless of your experience, if you don't practice these skills constantly, you're going to fuck up, you know. And my fuck up was not a huge one, because this rope, you know, a roll of that is like $3, so it's not expensive. And I like this little rope because it's pretty solid. It's not tested at 500 pound or anything, but for something like that, that would have been fine. I used that rope to tie down my tarp, but even this might not prove to be perfect. But you know, like I'm looking at it and it's not moving anywhere. You know, this guy here was the wobbly one. If I push it like that, it wants to wobble, but I'm not going to swing in my bed like that. So just by putting pressure like that, it will want to go like this, but it doesn't. This one here is very solid. So this is very solid. The only thing is this is sitting on about this compact snow. So this spring, my bed is just going to go low. So I don't care. In the spring, we're going to redo this bed. We're going to make it much more solid. We're going to drive in some stakes, you know. And the stakes, the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to change these two poles to be much longer. And then what you do is you take one stake like this, you plant one here, and you plant the other one on this, or you go like this here, where I can actually go through. You put one there, and then you put the other one here. Can you see that? Yeah. So it actually prevents it from going anywhere, and it actually prevents this guy, the big fat guy, to roll, you know. The problem is even if I would want to drive a stake, this is frozen stiff. I should have done that 2 months ago, but 2 months ago this did not exist. You know why? Because we were looking for this. I was on the Crown land walking all over the place and walking in a swamp. Now I'm not in a swamp. Now I'm in paradise. This is a perfect bush. Yep. Clean time.